Most guys think looking strong is about being louder, tougher, or more dominant. But here's the truth. People size up your confidence through tiny behaviors you probably don't even notice you're doing. In this video, you're going to discover 7 subtle habits that quietly make you look weak. And once you spot them, you'll never look at your own behavior the same way again. Topic 1. Apologizing. When you've done nothing wrong. A lot of guys think saying sorry all the time makes them look polite and respectful. And sure, in some situations that's true. The problem is when it happens for no reason at all, like apologizing for asking a question, sharing an opinion, or just politely jumping into a conversation. Without realizing it, you start sending the message that your presence is an inconvenience, and people pick up on that way faster than you'd think. Picture 2 people in a meeting. The first one says, "Sorry to bother you, but I had an idea." The second one just says, "I've got an idea that might help." The difference sounds small, but the impression it leaves is huge. Someone who's genuinely confident doesn't feel like they need permission to speak up. It's not about being arrogant. It's about believing what you bring to the table actually matters. That doesn't mean you stop apologizing when you actually mess up. It just means you save it for when it's actually needed. Instead of, "Sorry to ask," try just saying, "Quick question." Instead of, "Sorry to bother you," try, "Got a minute?" Small swaps like these completely change how people read your confidence. And there's an even more common habit that makes guys lose respect without even realizing it. Topic 2. Over-explaining yourself. There's a big difference between explaining a decision and feeling like you have to defend it every single time. A lot of men fall into the habit of justifying every single choice, like they're trying to convince the whole world they're allowed to think or act a certain way. The more unsolicited details they throw out, the more it looks like even they aren't sure about what they're doing. This shows up in everyday situations. A friend asks why he's skipping an event, and instead of just saying, "I've got other plans," he launches into a whole string of justifications. Same thing happens at work, in relationships, even with family. Funny enough, the people who come across as most confident usually give short, straight answers, not because they're cold, but because they get that not every decision needs a full legal defense. Confident men know that clarity beats over-explaining every time. When a decision makes sense to them, a few words are usually enough. That doesn't mean shutting people out or refusing to talk things through. It means dropping the constant need to chase approval through explanations. And speaking of chasing approval, that's exactly the next behavior that makes guys look weaker than they actually are. Topic 3. Constantly seeking approval. One of the most subtle signs of insecurity is the constant need for approval. It's when a guy flips his opinion just to dodge criticism, keeps asking if he made the right call, or waits for everyone else to validate a decision before he acts on it. At first, this can look like humility, but over time it just sends the message that he doesn't trust his own judgment. You see this play out in normal, everyday moments. Someone picks a restaurant and immediately asks, "You sure everyone liked it though?" Or he buys something he actually wanted and feels the need to justify it to everybody. Confident people listen to opinions when they're useful, but they don't need them to feel secure. They get it. You can't please everyone, and trying to is a losing game. The less a guy needs everyone else's stamp of approval, the more natural his confidence looks. That doesn't mean ignoring advice or acting like a know-it-all. It means learning to make decisions without constantly chasing outside validation. And funny enough, there's another habit that comes from that same insecurity, one that makes a lot of guys lose their presence without even noticing: the fear of silence. Topic 4. Filling every silence. A lot of guys think they need to talk non-stop to seem interesting or confident. So any pause in a conversation feels awkward, and they rush to fill it immediately. The problem is, that need to fill silence usually reads as nervousness, not confidence. Someone who's actually secure doesn't see silence as the enemy. You see it clearly on dates, in job interviews, or in meetings. The second there's a few seconds of pause, some people start rambling, change the subject, or even cut the other person off without meaning to. Confident guys, on the other hand, know how to actually listen. Take a beat before responding and aren't scared to let a conversation breathe. A lot of the time, silence says more about your confidence than a rushed speech ever could. Learning to sit comfortably with a few seconds of silence completely changes how people perceive your presence. Instead of reacting on impulse, you start responding with intention, which shows way more emotional control. And speaking of signals that give away insecurity without saying a single word, the next behavior happens entirely through body language. This video's already got you noticing habits you never picked up on before. Do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. Our goal right now is to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every single sub helps us bring you more practical content on confidence, male behavior, and social psychology. If this kind of content actually makes a difference for you, come be part of the journey. Topic 5. Nervous body language. Before a guy even says a single word, his body language is already talking. Fidgeting with your hands, bouncing your leg, constantly adjusting your clothes, or avoiding eye contact, these are small, subtle signs that usually give away nervousness. Most of the time, he doesn't even realize he's doing it, but everyone around him definitely notices. Picture someone pitching an idea while staring at the floor and constantly messing with his shirt sleeves. Even if the idea itself is great, the nervousness ends up grabbing more attention than the actual content. Now compare that to a guy who keeps a relaxed posture, holds natural eye contact, and only moves his hands to emphasize a point. He comes across as way more credible. The good news? Body language can absolutely be trained. Cutting down on unnecessary movement, keeping an open posture, and learning to hold eye contact for a few seconds already makes a massive difference. And funny enough, there's another behavior that makes a lot of guys lose respect without realizing it: needing to have the last word. Topic 6. Needing the last word. A lot of guys think winning an argument is a sign of strength, so they feel like they have to respond to every comment, correct every different opinion, and always get the last word in. The problem is, this usually shows exactly the opposite. Someone who's actually secure doesn't feel like he has to constantly prove he's right. This shows up with friends, at work, even on social media. A simple disagreement turns into a full-blown competition over who wins the debate. Meanwhile, confident guys know that not every opinion deserves a response, and that walking away from a conversation calmly often shows way more maturity than trying to convince someone no matter what. Choosing which battles are actually worth fighting is a sign of real emotional intelligence. Not every challenge needs to be accepted, and not every criticism deserves a reaction. Sometimes the strongest move is simply moving on instead of burning energy trying to win pointless arguments. And the last behavior on this list is one of the sneakiest of all, because a lot of people think it shows humility, when really, it shows insecurity. Topic 7. Downplaying yourself before anyone else can. One of the most damaging habits is putting yourself down before anyone else gets the chance to. A lot of guys crack jokes about their own looks, downplay their achievements, or act like their skills aren't a big deal. They think it comes across as humble, but in reality, they're teaching everyone around them to respect them less. This shows up in lines like, "It's not even that good, I just got lucky," or "anyone could have done that." Sure, nobody likes arrogance, but there's a massive difference between being humble and constantly trashing your own effort. Confident men recognize their limits, sure, but they also own their wins without feeling embarrassed about it. The way a man talks about himself directly shapes how everyone else ends up seeing him. Once he learns to drop these small habits and swap them out for a more grounded, secure attitude, his whole presence shifts naturally. At the end of the day, confidence isn't about looking superior to everyone else. It's about cutting out the behaviors that make you look smaller than you actually are. Conclusion. So here's the question. Which of these 7 behaviors do you catch yourself doing the most? A lot of the time, it's not the big life changes that shift how the world sees us. It's the decision to fix small habits that, repeated day after day, end up shaping our whole image. Pick just one of them and start working on it today. You might be surprised how much it changes the way people respond to you. Drop a comment and let us know which behavior hit closest to home, or which one you're planning to cut out first. Your experience might help other guys going through the exact same thing. And if you want to keep learning about confidence, male behavior, and social psychology in a practical way, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you won't miss the next videos and can keep leveling up with every new one.